Hello, welcome to 15 Minutes of Consulting Best Practices. My name is Maria Isabel Rios, and I'm joined by David A. Fields. Hello, David.
Hi, Maria Isabel. It's nice to see you. I hope you had a great weekend.
I did. Hope you did too. And welcome. We're here to answer your questions about your consulting firm, how to create success, how to create growth, and how to create value for you and for your clients as well. And we do that by answering questions that have either been submitted ahead of time or that you submit live. Hello, Aaron. Thank you for jumping in and say hi right away. It takes us a few seconds to see your comments, your questions. We also invite participation, right? So if you have anything to add to a discussion, please chime in with your own experiences, with your own comments, and with add-on questions as we go along.
Yeah. And if you have not ever posted a question, or if this is your first time, think about what's on your mind for your practice and give us a question, because we want to hear what you have to say and what's on your mind.
Exactly. And as you do that, Jaren, please share the first question for today. Thank you. So this question came in from Mike. Thank you, Mike. Mike says, you advocate for asking for introductions, and I've seen you demonstrated. Okay, good. It seems doable. So in our firm, I am the main relationship owner for some clients. And when it comes to asking for introductions into practice, I start feeling insecure. I am asking a CEO to introduce me to another CEO or to a board member at a different company. How do I overcome this obstacle? Okay, David, what do you have to say to Mike? How does Mike overcome this?
Okay, so I was just looking. So the obstacle here, I think, is insecurity. Right? So you've seen it. It seems doable, but then you're insecure. Okay. Right. Got it. So I find this a really interesting question. Your insecurity, Mike, or for anyone out there, because everybody struggles with it at some point in some ways. It comes up because you're unsure of your value, right? You're unsure in some way that you should be in the conversation. But remember, consulting isn't about you. It's about them, your clients, your prospects. That's right side up thinking. I mean, that's the most fundamental principle in consulting. And if you're worried and insecure and distracted by thinking about your value, that's actually upside down. That's you thinking about you. But you're in consulting, you're not the arbiter of your value. They are. So that CEO you're talking to, if that CEO is talking with you, if you've had conversation, obviously the CEO thinks you are of some value because the CEO is talking with you. You don't get to decide, they get to decide. And if they think you are of value, which is likely, then they will make an introduction. So I guess my advice is stop looking inwards. Stop worrying about yourself. That's upside down. So that would be my first thing. And of course it does help to believe in yourself and know that making yourself available is actually of value. So Maria Isabel, anything you would change or add?
I think sometimes what I've also heard is the question of, well, will people believe me when I say that the objective of the introduction is actually getting to know people? Or would they be afraid that when I say I want to get to know people, in reality, I'm going to come in and kind of violate that belief and turn the conversation into a hard sale? And my thought is, if you truly and genuinely commit to having that introduction be about connecting with the next person, you believe it in your heart and you are committed to remaining true to that premise, then your counterpart, the CEO that you're speaking with, the board member that you're speaking with, the person that will also believe it.
Yeah.
Right. And it will come across
as relationship. Yeah. Focus on relationship. I like that. Excellent.
Right.
Outstanding. All right. Is it Aaron or Captain? Do we call you Captain since this is Aaron Captain Littles?
Yeah. That would be my assumption, but yes.
So we'll go with the Captain. Says, I'm being asked to do more fractional consultant work. I would need some explanation of what you mean by that, because usually fractional is a position like fractional CMO, fractional CSO, right? You're a fractional position, not a fractional consultant. So I'd like some clarification on what you mean by that, as opposed to large scale projects. Fractional work takes more time and isn't as good from a financial standpoint. How do I find more project-based work? I'm primarily in the staffing industry. Does that mean you provide, for lack of a better word, headhunting solutions, or that you serve folks who are in staffing? Once a Marine, always a Marine. Okay. Well, thank you for your service.
Okay.
Okay. Chief sales officer, or something that S stands for. I can jump on that, Marisabel, or you can jump on it. Whatever.
Yeah, go ahead. I think
Yeah.
we can. Yeah.
So we're not huge fans of the fractional model also, but not necessarily for the reasons that you say. It's more because fractional is by definition around time. You're offering a fraction of a person, so now the whole orientation is on time, and we want a day a week. And that's not really why you should be hired. You should be hired to produce a solution. And that is what you need to go back and talk with your prospects about. When they say, well, we're looking for a fractional CSO. You say, are you really looking for a fractional CSO, or are you looking for certain results? If you're looking for certain results, I can make that happen. Now, in some cases, they are truly looking for a fractional person because they're thinking of a position and it's ongoing, long-term, and they need someone to run meetings every week. Okay. Even so, all that drives to results. And you say our model is we have a project-based model, or we have a model that's focused on creating results, and we get paid to create results. So sometimes clients just need to be educated. That'd be my initial response. Marisabel, what do you want to add to that?
I am completely with you, particularly, and perhaps an easier route to that is, given that the S in this context, and you just clarified that, it means strategy, right? So strategy lends itself really well
100%.
To thinking less about a fractional position and more of how, are we actually at the point where we're drafting a strategy, or are we actually at the point where we're turning the strategy into a plan, or do we actually have a plan around the strategy, and are we actually thinking about implementing it, right? Yep. And all of those elements suit themselves well to think of them at a project. I would encourage you at a project level, right? So I would encourage you to think about, when they think fractional, what are they really looking for? My guess is they're looking for the reliability of having one point of contact, that it's available to them, right, on a recurring basis, some level of responsiveness. And if you can assure, and some continuity, right? And if you can ensure that on a project level, you can provide that and surpass that by adding value in other metrics, either through a team or through thinking in a different way, you can help educate, like you said, David, right? Help educate and help say, okay, I get it. I get it. We're thinking fractional. Here's how you shift.
Captain Littles, let us know whether that helped. And if you're like, don't get it, or you have a follow-up question, post your follow-up question, and we'll sort it out. It's a good question. And Tony has a question. Do you want me to read it, or you want to read it?
You can read it better than me, at least without the accent.
Anyway. Different accent. If you're helping clients prioritize their path forward, do you have any ideas on how to tease that out through LinkedIn posts? Most of my target clients tend to share congratulations and big announcements, things that signal they already needed help. I'd love to find a way to spark conversations earlier in their journey. Any thoughts? What do you think, Marisabel?
Oh, I think this question is very interesting because I don't know. LinkedIn is an interesting avenue, right? Because ultimately, you would want to use it as a vehicle for enhancing connection and to tease changes or upcoming changes earlier on in the process. You will need to be a few degrees closer to the person. Where you are in a conversation and you get to know ahead of time, right, what's going to happen. To me, that means you probably have a recurring cadence of conversations in the book, or you find a way to, either through your one-on-ones or through regular outreaches, to be in touch with somebody so that you're not being triggered by announcements. So that as part of the journey of connecting with them, you would already be the person they talk to as they think of making changes or ahead of any changes in career they're making, if that makes sense. David, did you go to the same place or do you go a different route?
Well, yes, where you went, and also there's what you're talking about here, Tony, is cold outreach, is what it sounds like to me. You're seeing target prospects, and I'm guessing that because of how you phrased it, target prospects. You're seeing target prospects, and they post something. You're like, oh man, you're posting it now. That means you needed my help 2 months ago, 6 months ago, a year ago. Was there a way to figure it out from 2 months ago, 6 months ago, a year ago, what they were posting? If you're doing cold outreach based on a prior post, first of all, is there a proven way to do this? No. Almost all cold outreach is really inefficient. So what would be interesting for you to test, we haven't seen it work, but you could test it, is some tailored 1-1-1 outreach based on posts you see from your clients. I think there's sort of a fine line between responding to someone's post and it being creepy. When people put stuff out there and you're like, hey, I saw you wrote about this, is good. But if you do it all the time, it might get a little awkward. But I think you could have a 1-1-1 email that says you posted this. It looks like you're headed in this direction. And then simple question. The idea is to start a conversation. That is how you're going to win business, is getting the conversation. And so I am wondering whether you might be able to use LinkedIn, which we have seen LinkedIn does work as 1-1-1 outreach to start conversations. I'm just wondering whether you can do it triggered on certain posts. We don't have any clients who are doing that, but it would be definitely worth looking into. Isabel?
David, then if the case is a case of cold outreaches versus folks you already know, which was my hypothesis, right? Then what would you think of maybe having Tony think of, okay, what are typical problems or moments or inflection points? Yeah. And creating posts around saying, look, these are the problems we typically help solve, or these are, our clients typically come to us when, and then maybe you put that out into the world.
I think they're
generalized way, so that people can be like, oh, that's me. I have this upcoming, right? Yeah. And it will also be very inefficient, but it would allow folks to see themselves reflected in the problem or in the need.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's not either or. I think it's both, as you said. So visibility building. Right. So posts which show your point of view in the world and create value for people who do what we're doing. Just answer questions. That's all good. That's all straight up visibility building. If you want to do specific targeted outreach, right, 1-1-1 may get you into a conversation. It is really probably the most effective conversation starting technique we've encountered or developed in this case. So Tony, let us know if that helps. And we actually don't have time to hit another question, but thank you, Tony and Captain Littles, for asking questions. If you're here and you have questions, you could post them now and we'll get to them next week, or submit them, because lots of them come in and we'll get to it. In the meantime, thank you for spending 15 minutes with Marie-Isabelle and with me. A couple things before you go. Make sure you're here every week. And the easy way to do that, thank you, Jaron, is as Jaron put up here, is just add davidefields.com/Monday Live. I think it has to be all lowercase like that. Just put it in your calendar to pop up at 12:10 or something Eastern. And that way you're here with us. Also, if you don't get the weekly articles, and a number of you don't, you should subscribe and get those. They take all of about 2 minutes to read through, and you get those at davidefields.com/subscribe. So those were the couple thoughts before you go, thank you for coming. Thank you for being here. I hope you have an amazing week. And I hope you do remember that consulting is not about you. It's about them. It's about your clients and your prospects. So just give them value and give them kindness. And we will see you next week.
All right.
Take care, all.
Ciao. Thank you.